Everyone thinks mRNA vaccines were invented for COVID. That's wrong. They were invented for cancer 30 years ago by two young doctors who spent their wedding day in a lab. Right now, in a Gainesville hospital, a woman with a brain tumor that should have killed her is walking her dog. Her immune system learned something new 48 hours after one injection. By the end of this, you'll understand why cancer defeated medicine for 50 years, and why a detour through a pandemic may have just ended the war. For half a century, we have been losing to cancer. 10 million people died of it last year. Almost every family has an empty chair. But here's the strange part. We cured polio, we cured smallpox, we cured dozens of infections that used to kill children. Why not this? Because cancer is not one disease. It's over 200. And cancer is not a foreign invader. It's made of you. Your immune system is trained from birth to leave your own cells alone. A tumor hides behind that rule. Now look closer. 2 cells, 1 centimeter apart inside the same tumor. Genetically different. A drug that kills one leaves the other standing. Chemotherapy wipes out 99% of a tumor. The surviving 1%, it was always resistant. And now, it has the whole neighborhood to itself. So for 50 years we had 3 tools: cut it out, burn it with radiation, or poison it and hope the patient survives the poison. This is the wall medicine kept hitting. 1 patient, 200 diseases, billions of unique mutations, no 2 tumors alike, even in the same body. And then, in a small lab in Germany, 2 people decided to fight cancer the way cancer fights us, personally. But here's the part nobody talks about. The breakthrough didn't come from Harvard, or Stanford, or a trillion-dollar pharma lab. It came from a Turkish-German couple in Mainz who refused to give up on a molecule everyone else had written off. Uğur Şahin and Özlem Türeci met as young doctors. They sat beside cancer patients they could not save. Özlem's father was a surgeon. She had watched people die since she was a child. One night, over coffee, they became obsessed with one idea. What if you could make a custom drug for every patient, not in a factory? Overnight, there was one molecule that could do that: messenger RNA. The field laughed. mRNA was too unstable, too weak. It fell apart before it could do anything. Dead-end science. Şahin and Türeci spent the next 15 years fixing it, changing the cap, changing the tail, changing the letters in between. In 2006, they published a paper. Their modified mRNA produced 1,000 times more protein than the original. 2 years later, they founded a company called BioNTech in a quiet corner of Mainz to cure cancer. Oh, and on their wedding day in 2002, they stopped by the lab in the morning, went to the registry office, then went back to the lab. There was no honeymoon. They had experiments running. For the next 12 years, BioNTech burned investor money and produced 0 approved drugs. It was a cancer startup, and nobody outside Mainz had heard of it, until a virus changed the plan. January 2020, the world is shutting down. Şahin reads a paper on Friday. By Monday, he tells his team at BioNTech to pivot. They call it Project Lightspeed. They take the same mRNA plumbing they built for cancer, same modified caps, same lipid particles, same delivery system, They swap the cancer target for a spike protein. 11 months later, the Pfizer BioNTech COVID vaccine is approved. Billions of doses ship worldwide. Stop and feel that for a second. The first time mRNA was proven safe in humans at scale, it was a detour. The technology that 2 doctors built for cancer. So how does a personalized cancer vaccine actually work? Watch closely. This is chalk on a blackboard, but it's the most important diagram of the decade. Step 1. A surgeon removes your tumor. A small chunk goes into a freezer at -80 degrees. You can hear the freezer humming. That hum is the sound of a new kind of medicine. Step 2. That tumor gets sequenced. Billions of letters of DNA, read in a few days. Somewhere in those letters are mutations that exist only in your cancer. Nowhere else on Earth. Not even in your own healthy cells. Those mutations are called neoantigens. They are the fingerprints the immune system could never see. Step 3. An algorithm picks the 20 best fingerprints from your tumor, the ones most likely to wake the immune system up. Step 4. A lab stitches those fingerprints into a single strand of mRNA. 1 vial, 1 patient. Up to 34 targets in that vial. Think about that. Your tumor cannot hide behind 1 mutation. It has to evade 34 of them at once. Evolution is fast. It's not that fast. From surgery to vial, 4 to 7 weeks. No 2 vials on the shelf are the same drug. Every shelf has a name on it. And when that vial goes into your arm, your T cells don't learn cancer in general. They learn your cancer. Specifically, permanently. This is not medicine the way we knew it. This is medicine written in your own handwriting. The first real test was against the cancer nobody beats. Pancreatic cancer. 5-year survival rate. 12%. At stage 4, barely 3. It's called a cold tumor. The immune system doesn't even see it. Walks right past. At Memorial Sloan Kettering, a surgeon named Vinod Balachandran had noticed something strange. The rare pancreatic patients who lived a long time, they had unusual T cells in their blood, as if their immune systems had somehow figured it out on their own. He wondered, what if we could teach that lesson on purpose? His team enrolled 16 patients, surgery first, then a personalized mRNA vaccine, custom-built for each tumor. Then a wait. 8 of the 16 mounted a strong immune response. Half of them in pancreatic cancer. That alone was stunning, but the real surprise came later. 3 years after the vaccine, Balachandran's team pulled blood from those same responders. They were looking for T cells. They were still there, patrolling. Years later, in Balachandran's words, we continued to detect vaccine-stimulated T cells at substantial frequencies in patients' blood up to 3 years after vaccination. In pancreatic cancer, that has never happened. A vaccine didn't just fight the tumor. It installed a memory, a permanent guard, and somewhere in a clinic, 16 people who should have been dead by every statistic ever published weren't. Now meet Elias Sayer, pediatric oncologist, University of Florida. His target was even scarier. Glioblastoma, brain cancer. Median survival 15 months. A cold tumor locked behind the blood-brain barrier. Sayer built something new. Instead of one lipid particle carrying mRNA, he wrapped layers around layers. Like an onion. Multilamellar. It looked, to the immune system, like a viral attack. Danger everywhere. All at once. Before the human trial, his team tested it on 10 pet dogs, with their owner's permission. Dogs with natural brain tumors. The dogs' immune systems lit up. That was the green light. Then 4 adult patients. A lethal diagnosis. Sayer injects the liquid, scans the brain at the 48-hour mark. He expected a slow build. Weeks, maybe? Instead, in less than 48 hours, we could see these tumors shifting from what we refer to as cold, immune cold, very few immune cells, very silenced immune response, to hot, very active immune response. The dead zone had woken up. Sayer, describing it later, used a phrase scientists almost never use out loud. This was very surprising given how quick this happened. 48 hours. To reverse one of the deepest silences in biology. Remember the woman walking her dog in Gainesville? She was in that first cohort, 3 years out from a diagnosis of 15 months. We'll come back to her. So here's where we are, right now. April 2026. Melanoma, the cancer that spreads fastest. Moderna and Merck ran a trial. Standard treatment versus standard treatment, plus a personalized mRNA vaccine. The 5-year data dropped in January 2026. Sustained 49% reduction in recurrence or death. Nearly half the relapses gone. The Phase 3 trial is fully enrolled. 25 countries, over 1,000 patients. Interim readout this year. The first FDA approval of a personalized mRNA cancer vaccine is expected in 2026 or 2027. Pancreatic, glioblastoma, triple-negative breast cancer. Each has its own trial now. Each is moving forward. And Uğur Şahin, the same man who spent his wedding day in a lab, has publicly said cancer vaccines will be widely available before 2030. His wife, Özlem Türeci, is more careful. She said something doctors almost never say. We feel that a cure for cancer, or to changing cancer patients' lives, is in our grasp. In our grasp. Listen to that sentence. In our grasp. This is the first time, in 50 years of the war on cancer, that anyone on the inside has said that phrase and meant it. So why was cancer so hard to cure? Because it's personal, not as a metaphor. Literally, every tumor is a unique experiment in evolution. 50 years we fought it with generic weapons. And generic weapons don't beat personal enemies. The mRNA revolution works because, for the first time, the medicine is as personal as the disease. Your cancer, your mutations, your vaccine, and the strangest, most wonderful part of this story. The answer came from a detour. 2 doctors obsessed with cancer got interrupted by a pandemic. The interruption proved their tools worked. Then they went back to the original dream. The wedding day in the lab. The 12 silent years. The paper nobody wanted to read in 2006. It was all pointing here. Remember the woman in Gainesville? She's still alive. 3 years past a diagnosis that gives you 15 months. She's walking her dog. Afternoon light. Long shadows, her immune system quietly patrolling. Still remembering a lesson it learned 48 hours after one injection. That's what science looks like when it finally listens to the shape of the problem. Not louder, not bigger. More personal. Cancer is evolution you can watch in real time. A tumor mutates, adapts, resists. The same way a species rewrites itself under pressure. But what happens when the pressure is total? When 99% of life on a planet dies in a single day, on a windswept shore, a paleontologist kneels in the sand. She brushes dust off a bone that shouldn't exist yet. A creature that evolved, fully formed, only 2,000 years after the world ended. Life, it turns out, rebuilds faster than anyone thought possible. The rules of speed bend at the edge of extinction, and the fossils are just starting to speak. Title suggestions. 5 options. 1. Why cancer took 50 years to cure until 2026. 2. The wedding day that ended cancer. 3. mRNA wasn't built for COVID. It was built for this. 48 hours. How mRNA rewrote cancer. 5. The 30-year bet that finally beat cancer.